Hey everybody, David Trungale here with a world record for you. This is Mario Golf Nintendo 64 and we are on the second course, which is Koopa Park. I carded 24 under par and this was a interesting round to say the least. So we're going to play through all 18 holes here with some commentary. First hole is very straightforward and there's not a whole lot of wind here, so this should pretty much be a no-brainer birdie to start out. And in fact, this front nine, I really played it as good as I possibly could have with the wind and RNG that I received. The back nine gets really interesting, especially towards the end, but can't really complain much about what happened here in the front nine. It's about as good as I could have hit the ball. So next hole is a par 5. This is hole number 2. It's a dogleg right. No wind, but we do have some rain to contend with. So we're going to club up a little bit here. And this hole is a little bit deceptive on the approach. This plays a little bit longer than what you might expect, especially if you hit a lower trajectory shot like I did just there. But you can see that was right on the money, just about 3 feet short of the pin. So tapping eagles are always nice. This next hole, if you're fortunate, it's a potential eagle hole, but that's not the case here because we're into the wind a little bit. You really need to be downwind, at least somewhat, to have a chance at driving this green. So I'm just going to play this with a very minor touch of fade spin to try and just carry the edge of the fairway and give myself about 60 yards or so for the approach. That was a really nice shot. There's a little ridge there in the center of the green, but I stuffed it to about 4 feet, so another tap in essentially. Next hole's a par 3 here. This hole can be a little bit tricky at times. There's a 12 mile per hour crosswind, and I'm just going to aim left, put some fade spin on the ball and let the wind do its work and really push that off to the right. Now, I went a little bit further to the right than I wanted, but still not bad. I mean, I'm inside of 15 feet. And pretty aggressive putt there for a birdie too. This hole, if you have no wind or you're downwind, you have no problem carrying that bunker, so I usually just kind of blast it down the fairway. If you're into the wind, I will play it short of that sand trap and then proceed with the approach shot. But here I am, about 63 yards away, so this was very well calculated. I'm just going to barely clear over the edge of that bunker, landing on the front of the green, and again we're inside 6 feet here, so this is some really good ball striking so far. Alright, par 5 here. Pretty quiet, 3 mile per hour winds, so I'm not doing anything fancy here. I'm just going to hit this straight, let the ball draw, which is his natural shot here. And then on my approach shot, I believe I'll use some spin, which I usually do. I just have found it, based on trial and error, easier to control the ball this way. And another nice approach shot, so about 14 feet for eagle. Alright, so now this is very interesting here. This is a difficult green, and I'm looking at this wind and loving every minute of it because I knew I had a chance here, so I'm going to really blast this thing out there. It's about a 300 and looks like 374 to the pin, and I catch that slope, which is very nice there, so I'm inside of 30 feet, so that was an excellent shot. It's not easy to eagle this hole at all. You have to have significant downwind. You have to keep, obviously, the ball in a reasonable distance from the pins, so that was a good result there. Alright, so par 3 over water. Again, I'm going to aim left, add a little fade spin, which will help the wind, and yeah, I did end up a little bit right, but again, I can't complain. I mean, inside of 14 feet here, you just got to make birdies on the par 3s. That's really all you can ask for. And here's the other eagle I make. So again, good RNG, good fortune with the wind there. So obviously you want to take advantage of this. And I may have been better off hitting this full power, but this will suffice. As you can see, it's going to carry that bunker, get a nice bounce, and it's certainly not a short putt, but let's see, where did I end up again? Okay, about 50 feet away, but it's dead straight, so I don't even take any time. I just hammer it right in for an eagle too. So that's all birdies and 4 eagles in the front. So I was pretty happy with that outcome. It's about as well as I could have played it, considering the wind. The only other possible eagle, again, would have been hole 3, but the wind was not in the position. Now here's a shot that I played as best as I could. I just needed a little bit more wind, and as you can notice, this is dead at the flag, but with 6 miles per hour, that's just not enough to get there. You're going to want to have 10 mile per hour wind or more if you want to have a chance of reaching that green. Plus, we're in the rain, and as I've stated, the rain will slow down the putts on the putting green, but it also does cut off a little distance with your ball striking. So anyway, that was a pretty reasonable birdie, I think. Alright, this next hole is a very narrow fairway, and I got a little bit cute here. I added some extra draw spin when I probably didn't need to, even though the fairway opened up. So now I landed in the 70 to 85% rough, which is random. A lot of times it's just 80, 90, but this was a well-judged approach shot considering that lie. I certainly didn't want to hit it too far and go down that slope, because there's a huge drop-off on that green. If you played this course before, you'll know what I'm talking about. Alright, so this tee shot should do just fine. Pretty quiet wind, which is good. If you land too far right on that fairway, the trees can be an issue, but there shouldn't be any problems here. Well struck shot there, which is always important for consistency. And 10 feet away, so that's always good to be in a close range for eagle putt. And this green does break though, so I mean, making an error is not out of the question, and that's what, unfortunately, we're going to see towards the end here. But so far, I'm pretty much playing the game as good as you can. This shot was a little bit challenging because, again, par 3s, the best you can really do is birdie, unless you're very fortunate and you make a hole-in-one. But that's why I really respect this game, is they did not set it up in a way where holing out is any sort of freebie. I mean, it's rare to make hole-in-ones. It's rare to hole out for eagle from the fairway. So I really like that design where it's not, they're not going to give you shots. They're going to make you really work for them. But on the same token, you can still play outstanding golf and shoot scores that obviously no one on the PGA will ever shoot. So it's kind of hard to explain. It just has a great balance of skill, but there's some realistic aspects, I guess, with the ball striking, in the sense that, it's not like those Tiger Woods games where you can just hole out every shot. So that was an excellent approach shot there. All right, now this hole, you got to really be careful about, and there's no wind. You can see me purposely aiming left and doing my fade spin because I want this thing to land soft, and I'm worried, I knew if I played it to the left of the water with a draw, it would have landed and bounced to the left, but I ended up in that position anyway, so I didn't put enough fade spin on to hold it. So now I'm in some trouble here because this green is relatively small and it has some weird stuff going on. It is not a level surface at all, so I have to use some extra loft here to blast it over the trees, and I ended up adding a little too much spin, and I was on a lie that wasn't very balanced. And this is a very testy putt, 38 feet, and this putt breaks, so this was really clutch here to make this, to keep the run going. And this is where things are a little bit painful to watch. So I was excited because I'm 20 under on this tee box, and this is just me overanalyzing. I should have played it with an 8 iron at 149, just like that, and taken off a couple of notches. But I decided to go way up to a 7 iron and do like a 3/4 type shot, and here's what happens. So I misfire, and that's a pull. And you know where this is going, right in the bunker, so wasn't too happy with that. It was really the first mistake, and really the only mistake of this round that I made. So this is a par. So it's going to hold me at 20 under, and of course the goal here at this point is to go eagle to finish, because this is a drivable par 4. And I played this pretty well. Not a whole lot of wind. Taking a couple notches off of that. Adding a little spin, and this should land nicely. So 15 feet for eagle. There should not be any issues with this putt. But yeah, that 16th hole really was a killer. I mean, I can't complain. 24 under, I've shot the score a couple times before, so this is my personal best, but it would have been awesome to card 25 under, and it was definitely feasible. Just, and it's always easy in retrospect, I mean, to go back and look at this round, because there's some things that certainly went my way with the wind, but just knowing on that 16th tee box that I could have finished with 25 under, there's certainly potential out there, but this is still a world record. So, and here we're gonna use the wind to our advantage, put spin on the ball, and I almost overcooked this with the spin, because you can see, I mean, I'm in good shape here, 19, 20 feet, but yeah, there's a interesting finish to this. So I'm tweaking this, and I almost overanalyzed it, you can see. I used the very left edge of the cup, but we're good. So I closed out with an eagle, and there you go. That's 24 under. World record. I believe the score has been shot by a couple other players out there, so it is a tied world record. I have several solo world records on this channel as well to check out, but thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed this.